This is GerotheHero, and this is my review of Drifters Episode 3. So right away we're introduced to two more Drifters. We have Hannibal and his, partner, Scipio. Basically, all the soldiers, regular soldiers, are kind of laughing at him because they're like, well, you want us to give control to this old guy that it doesn't really seem like he's in the right mind at all. And Scipio pretty much explains that, you know what, you don't know who this is. This is Hannibal, and he's worth more than you soldiers combined, basically. But I'm kind of with them. I'm like, okay, well, how is that going to work? How is an old version of Hannibal going to do anything in this war? Maybe strategically, which I'm going to guess would be. But otherwise, as far as fighting, we'll have to see if he's actually can do anything now. But it's kind of funny because he says he hates that he's getting old, especially after the fact that he basically peed himself and everybody was laughing at him. We get to the next scene, and pretty much it's basically the Dark King's army that looks basically like a scene from Lord of the Rings when they basically try to attack Helm's Deep. There's just like millions and millions of, well, probably like more like thousands. I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but a lot of soldiers. There's orcs and goblins. And then to add to that, we have, we're introduced to like the three ends so far. We have Hijigata, who's like a crazy samurai that has like spiritual powers that like, there's these spirits that attack for him, basically. But the other two, I was kind of like, okay, why are they ends? Because it's kind of not with their character. I mean, Joan of Arc was basically a martyr, so I don't see why she would be with the bad guys. And then she was burned at the stake, so somehow that equals that she has fire powers. Kind of strange to me. As well, Anastasia was killed. And I guess just because she's from Russia in a cold area, she gets cold ice powers. That didn't make sense to me either. We also have like a dark horse character, Yoshitsune, who we don't know if he's like gonna go with the ends or the drifters. He basically says whoever's more interesting. So we basically find out that the main bad guy just wants to wipe out all of humanity and the drifters. He doesn't care how he's going to do it. We have a really cool scene when all the drifters are trying to escape because they figured out that they're going to lose that area, the north wall, and they basically just need to leave. So it's a really cool scene because the music's really great and the effects for it is pretty good. We see the Wild Bunch kind of jump into the fight, and they use a Gatling gun against all the forces. And then there's this cool scene where they referred him to the kid as a kid, but like he points his gun at one of the goblins, and he's like, "Do you have a cigarette?" And of course they don't have one. So since they're in his way, he's gonna shoot him. But that was a pretty cool scene. So in the end of this scene, we think that the drifters are not going to make it as far as escaping out of there because there's a dragon that comes right in front of them. But luckily, a plane that had came into the scene earlier, they weren't sure if it was a drifter or an end, ends up shooting the dragon and all the other ones. So we find out that there's an extra drifter, but I'm kind of wondering how's this going to work with like weapons that are brought into this world, because I mean they're going to eventually run out of bullets for that plane. They're going to run out of conventional weapons like handgun bullets, and of course they probably already ran out of the Gatling gun bullets. I'm wondering how that's going to work, if the guy with the glasses is going to provide them with weapons from these different areas. So once we get past that, you think that the show's ending because of course past the credits, normally people don't check that out, but in the scene past the ending song, we find out that the mage Olimina is basically spying on the drifters from our original episode, and they're just like, okay, what are you doing? Are you a spy? and they pretty much scare her into like explaining what the situation is. She's trying to say that, you know, that they need the drifters' help in fighting the main bad guy, and they're just like, they don't believe her, they don't get it. So it's kind of funny because they just don't get what she's trying to talk about, even though they've scared her into explaining everything. So we'll have to see if that actually gets like everybody into action in the next episode, or if there's just going to be some kind of meetup. So overall, pretty solid episode. We'll have to see what happens next time. So like always, comment below, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, and I will see you next time.